Okay. So, Vaishnav, you have a question?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you please explain the temperature dependency one, sir? Temperature inversion phenomena.
Okay. So, you tell me what have you understood till now?
Sir, as far as what I have seen in the class, temperature inversion is not linear as it seems to be. It's something different at low temperature, and it's something different at high temperature. At low temperature, as someone in class was mentioning that uh, there were two effects of lattice scattering or something, and the other effect was related to mobility. I'm not sure, sir. I've I've seen other effect was related to vibration, not mobility. Yeah, sir. This is what I have understood. At high low temperature, mobility increases, like electron momentum increases. Yeah, sir. That is, I didn't understand.
So, did you check any of the reference books?
Hmm. No, sir. To be honest, I didn't
Okay.
check.
So, if this is a thing that is bothering you so much, you should have checked because we did discuss that this is definitely available in the reference books. Anyways, let me explain. So, see, what does total current in any semiconductor or in any transistor would depend on?
Total current in a transistor, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, I equal to I naught into e power
No, no. Yeah, that is
Benny
the
Gravity.
equation. Yeah, that is
Yes.
the equation. I'm not asking the equation. I'm asking for your understanding of what does current, if I have to flow current through a wire, something, anything, what does it depend on?
Sir, it depends on many parameters like voltage,
Hmm.
resistance, and
Hmm.
yeah, and physical properties of the resistor,
Hmm.
and
So
many more.
for a wire, we can say that it depends on the potential difference across the two terminals and the resistance of the wire. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Hmm? Because you know that V is equal to IR.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Now, if we come to semiconductors, how are semiconductors different from wires?
Sir, they are different because the flow of electrons is not that good as in conductors, sir, because semiconductors are
Is it
yeah, sir.
only about the flow of electrons?
So
Sir, it's
unidirectional flow.
Faisal?
So it's about unidirectional flow of current. I think the difference between a
Okay.
diode and a simple
sir.
wire.
The other difference could be based upon the resistance, how we define it with respect to the temperature. So metals have
Okay.
positive coefficient of temperature and semiconductors negative.
Okay. But why is it negative for semiconductors? That is the question, and that is what Vaishnav wants to find out. Why is it negative for? So, so see, do we realize that semiconductors, so metals are good conductors of electricity because there is a huge amount of carriers, electrons available, which can flow wherever you want to, whichever direction you put the electric field in, they will be ready to flow there. Is that clear to all of us?
Yes, sir.
Hmm? So, why are semiconductors different from metals? Because if you put an electric field in a semiconductor, the electrons will flow there also. Then why are semiconductors different?
Sir, there is a
Sir,
particular value till which it stops to flow, and after that, barrier.
it is because most of the carriers will be in the valence band, and upon supplying certain electric field, the electrons move to the conduction band and constitute in the current flow.
Very good. Thank you, Ranjit. So what is happening here? What we are saying is that there is a paucity of carriers in semiconductors. So as much as they want to behave like a conductor, because there are not many carriers available, they behave like insulators, or they do not behave like uh, what do you say? They do not behave like uh, metals or conductors. So one thing that we can do to increase the amount or the number of carriers is give them more energy. If you give them more energy, what happens? More electrons are able to jump into the conduction band. So whether it was an n-type or a p-type, in the n-type one, you will have more electrons in the conduction band. In the p-type, you will have more holes in the valence band. Am I right?
Yes.
So as you increase the temperature, as you give energy to more and more electrons, what happens? You expect that more current will flow. Now, this is contrary to what we have for metals. For metals, as you increase the temperature, the resistance, what happens to the resistance as you increase the temperature of a metal?
It increases. Sir.
It increases. Yes. So the current would reduce. But for semiconductors, what are we saying? We are saying that as we increase the temperature, there are more electrons available in the conduction band or more holes available in the valence band. And therefore, I will have more current flow. That is why, Ranjit, the temperature coefficient for resistance is negative.
Negative. Yes, sir.
Now, if that is the case, then why is it that at SS 1.2, 125, you had a slower transition or a slower device than SS 1.2 minus 40? What happened? See, the theory that we understood till now was as you increase the temperature, more electrons will be available or more carriers will be available, so the current should increase. But we also know that at the voltages that you are operating, 1.2 volts, 1.3 volts, that is not really the case. So what is happening?
Temperature inversion.
अरे तो इन्वर्जन तो हमने नाम दिया ना इस बिहेवियर को.
हाँ, yes,
है ना? We are saying that temperature inversion has happened. I am asking, why has it happened? What phenomena is happening? What is the physics behind it?
Sir, due to
lattice scattering, it happens.
So what is lattice scattering, Faisal?
So as the number of carriers are more, so the collisions will be more. So that's why the mobility will decrease.
Okay. So what you are saying is, so Faisal, you are bringing in a different point, a completely different point actually. What you are saying is that if I go to 375 degrees Celsius, it doesn't mean that my resistance will continuously reduce for a semiconductor, or it will reduce linearly for a semiconductor. What you are saying is, what you're pointing to is that the reduction in resistivity of a semiconductor is no longer linear at very high temperatures or at high temperatures or wherever, because what happens? Even though my carriers increase, they start to collide with the lattice.
Yes.
Now, this takes us one step closer to why voltage dependency. So even if I was at a low voltage, no, what Faisal pointed out was, even if I was at a low voltage, let us say 0.5 or 0.6 volts, if I increase my temperature very, very much, the reduction in resistance would not be linear. It would saturate. Now I am saying that I observe that at high voltages, actually by increase in temperature, the resistance increases. So what is happening? See, at high voltages, yes, Faisal?
So I have like a similar doubt as Vaishnav had, but I know the temperature dependence on the mobility. Like initially, if we increase the temperature, we have impurity scattering, and after a certain limit, if we increase the temperature, there will be lattice scattering and the mobility will decrease. But when we relate this temperature with the supply voltage, that's where I got so much confused. I was about to ask this doubt.
Yeah. So what is actually happening is that as you increase the temperature much more, the lattice actually starts to vibrate itself also. See, at low temperatures, the lattice was not vibrating.
Yes, sir.
So what happened? There was some lattice scattering, but the lattice was not vibrating. The atoms were not moving amongst themselves. Only the electrons were there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but at high temperature, the lattice also starts to vibrate. So due to these physical vibrations in the lattice scattering increases multifold, and
Yes.
this degrades the mobility. Now we come to this question. Okay, if that is the case, then why still at low voltage 125 degree C is a better current than minus 40? So because at low voltage, you did not actually offer any electric field to or any electric energy to the electrons to jump into the conduction band. So temperature was the only thing that was doing this. Okay. So whatever benefit you got from the temperature, that still exceeded the loss due to lattice scattering. At high voltages, the voltage was already very high. You increase the temperature, so there were already 100 electrons in the conduction band. You added 10 more. But due to lattice scattering, which was also very high, what happened? The overall resistivity increased and current
Yes.
reduced. At
Now,
low temperatures, at minus 40, there was only 1 or 2 electrons in the conduction band, because electrically there was nothing that was provided there. But when you increase the temperature, you added 10. So what happened? That current increased from 2 to 12. Now due to lattice scattering, that 12 may have reduced to 8. Let us say that 12 reduced by 1/3. So it reduced to 8, but it was still greater than 2. At high temperatures, that 100 increased to 110, and then it reduced to something like 80. So now that 80 is lesser than 100 that was available at
conduction.
minus 40 degrees at
Yes,
low
sir.
temperatures. So this behavior change does not happen like tuck. This is a trend. So the temperature at which the delay at minus 40 and 125 is equal. The voltage at which the current at minus 40 and 125 is equal is called as the temperature inversion point, because below this voltage, the device will behave faster at 125 degrees Celsius, and above this voltage, the device will behave faster at minus 40 degrees Celsius. Is this clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Vaishnav?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So adding to this, can you please, in the lectures, we have seen the cycle time, the worst of cycle time, worst of power, and worst of subthreshold leakage. Can you please explain this table again, according to this?
According to this,
Yeah.
so that table was made for high voltages, the regular operational voltages. Let us look at it like that. So what happens? When will the current be less? So you are in the 1.2 volts operation range. When will you have lesser current? At 1.08, at 1.32. So why did I? So when I said you are at the 1.2 volt operation range, why did I talk about 1.08 and 1.32?
So, so it
So
should be
keeping
considered as a high voltage or low voltage, and 1.2 is like the general range. Is it that?
So to consider basically the corners, so 1.2 would be typical, then above that would be
Yeah.
fast, and below that would be slow.
Yeah, you say that typically on a die, when you will supply 1.2 volts, a plus minus 10% variations can happen. Okay,
Yes.
so 1.2 plus 10% is 1.32, 1.2 minus 10% is 1.08. So when you have to sign off, for delays at 1.08 because the delays are larger there, but for whole time you have to sign off at 1.32. Okay, so
Yes.
at 1.08 there are lesser electrons
Yes, sir.
in the valence band, in the conduction band,
Yes, sir.
so the current is low.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So for delays, more delays you will get at 1.08.
1.08. Yeah. Okay, sir.
Now let us look at so SS is fine. VT, as VT is higher, current is low. That much you understand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now let us look at temperature. If 1.08 volts is above the inversion temperature, then what temperature will have lower current?
If 1.08 is above,
125.
Yeah, if 1.08 is above the inversion voltage, then 125 degrees C is the worst case.
yeah, yes sir, yes sir.
So
Because we are already
SS
above
1.0, yeah, so SS 1.08 125 is the worst case for delays.
Yes sir, yes sir.
Okay. Now इसी का बिल्कुल opposite is the best case for delays.
Yes sir, yes
So
sir, understood.
SS 1.32 minus 40 is the best case for delays.
Yes sir.
Now what about leakage? When is the leakage high?
When our VDD is high, the leakage will be high, and if the VDD is high, and
Mhm.
VDD one more is
Sir, FF 1.32 and 125.
Yeah, why 125? Why not
Sir,
minus
at
40
high
now?
temperature.
हाई
No,
टेम्परेचर
sir.
पे लीकेज ज्यादा होता है, दैट यू हैव टोल्ड अस सर.
I have told you. तो मैंने बोल दिया तो वो फिजिक्स हो गई.
नहीं.
So what happens at 125 degrees Celsius in comparison to minus 40?
Okay, so can I say if we are already at higher voltage, तो हम लोग के पास ऑलरेडी ज्यादा इलेक्ट्रॉन्स है. अब अगर टेम्परेचर ज्यादा
Wait,
हो
wait,
जाए.
wait, 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 wait. Your
ओके,
device, हाँ, आप लीकेज की बात करो. So device is off.
ऑफ. हाँ हाँ. ओके.
तो कंडक्शन नहीं होना है वहां पे.
हाँ हाँ हाँ. यस.
अब
अच्छा, तो टेम्परेचर बढ़ाएंगे तो उसमें इलेक्ट्रॉन्स ज़्यादा आ जाएंगे, मतलब इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आने का स्कोप बढ़ेगा।
ओके.
yes. So as you increase the temperature, more electrons will naturally go into the conduction band.
Yes,
So
sir.
even though you did not want any conduction to happen, now conduction will happen.
यस सर, यस सर, यस सर. अंडरस्टूड.
That is why leakage is higher.
ओके.
सर ने बता दिया था, उसलिए नहीं लीकेज बढ़ जाती.
यस
There's a
सर.
physics behind it.
ओके ओके सर.
इंटरव्यू में क्या बोलोगे, हमें अनुज सर ने ये बताया है.
नहीं नहीं.
ठीक है.
ओके ओके सर. थैंक यू.
So what about power? What is the worst case for power?
पावर के लिए इफ द VDD इज हाई, द करंट विल बी हाई, तो पावर तो VDD हाई पे तो पावर ज़्यादा होगा. एंड इफ द VDD इज ऑलरेडी हाई एंड वी वांट, सो टेम्परेचर हैज टू बी लो.
Yeah,
So the
because you
current
want to
is-
have maximum
Exactly.
CV square F.
Yes, sir.
Capacitance will not largely change. FF पे maximum capacitance होगी. FF now voltage higher लोगे आप CV square F को बढ़ाने के लिए, and F को बढ़ाने के लिए frequency is higher when the delays are lesser.
Yes sir.
So minus 40. So
Okay.
dynamic power will be higher at CV square F, which is FF 1.32 minus 40. But when
Yes.
you include leakage as a total power component, then depending on technology, if leakage is very high in any given technology, then you may see that actually 125 is the worst case for dynamic power.
Yes sir.
It depends on the activity factor, alpha.
Okay sir. Understood. Thank you sir.
Okay. Yeah. Devjit?
Yes, sir. Sir, I had one question regarding the assignment. So,
Mhm.
sir, for calculating the leakage and for calculating the average power, there are coming actually three cases when the
Mhm.
signal is switching from 0 to 1. So, 0 to 1 1, 0 to 0 1, and 0 to 10. So, means where we have to calculate then the average power means.
So average is average of all. So you calculate at all the three places, then so you calculate at all the three places and then average them out.
Okay.
है ना, measure करोगे, you measure the power at all the three transitions and then average it out.
Sir, but the thing is that in ELDO, if we are trying to means manage the waveform in such a way so that all three means it is becoming very difficult, where all three conditions would come in the same graph.
Why? You just time separate them now. You make first measurement in say 1 to 2 nanoseconds, second measurement in 3 to 4 nanoseconds, third measurement in 7 to 8 nanoseconds. And then you write another command where you average the three numbers. सारा measure command से हो जाना चाहिए. 3 measure commands and you will be able to do it. Don't try to do it in 1 measure command.
Sir, and one more thing is that for the measuring the leakage, sir, it for an NAND gate, the leakage will be highest when A is 1 and B is 0, right?
Depends on which one is on the top. If you're saying A is on the top,
Yes, sir, A
then
is on
yes.
the
हाँ.
Okay, sir.
Actually, दोनों केस में similar leakage होगी. We will see it in the next class. You will see it in the class on Wednesday.
Okay.
दोनों केस में similar C leakage आ जाएगी. One of them is 1, the other one is 0.
Okay, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Vaishnav?
Sir, hello.
Yes.
Sir, yes, sir. My doubt was same as which Debijit asked. So, sir, when we are calculating average dynamic power, the thing that we would be doing is we'll be getting into the EZ wave and we'll be looking into where the transition happened. We'll be marking those points and we'll be integrating at that point so that we can get our Q value out of that.
So you don't need
Right,
to
sir?
go to EZ wave, Vaishnav. You made the stimuli yourself.
Yeah,
Huh?
sir.
So you know when you gave the 0 to 1 and 1 to 0 transitions. You know
Yes,
this,
sir.
no? So any power will be consumed. You're talking about a CMOS gate.
Yes, yes, sir.
So power will be consumed only around those transitions. So if you gave a transition at 1.5 nanoseconds, you can measure the power from 1.25 nanoseconds to 1.75, 1.8 or 2 nanoseconds. That would be good enough. Right?
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes,
You don't need to open the easy wave also. You simply need to write the measure command. Eldo will do everything for you. You don't need to waste your time.
Okay. Okay, sir. Got it. Thank you, sir.
And you just space apart all the transitions so much that even at the slowest corner, you are able to have clear, distinct windows in which you will do the measurements. Ensure that all the window sizes are same. All the measurement windows are of same size, 2 nanoseconds or 3, whatever you want to keep. Just ensure they're all the same size.
Got it, sir. Got it. Understood, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Devjit, you have a question?
No, sir. No, I forgot to.
Okay. Yes.
I have one more doubt in where we were calculating the alpha factor, the activity factor.
Activity factor.
So
Tell me.
actually, it's from the book. Can I present my screen?
Sure.
Okay, just a second. So in this part, so I was not able to get the 7/8, the probability of getting high at the node N5.
Okay. So what is the probability of what is the probability of N4 being 0?
3/4.
What is the probability of C being 0?
0.5.
1/2.
Yes, sir.
So what is the, okay, now these are two independent events. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Acha. And oh, wait. We have to look at it differently. What
Yes.
is the probability of N5?
N5.
What is the probability that N5 will be 0? It is the
So
probability of, it
1/2.
is the probability that C is equal to 0,
Yes, sir.
C is equal to 1, and N4 equal to 1.
N4 is equal. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the probability of N5 equal to 0 is 1/8.
So can you please, if C is 0 and it is, so can you please
C
explain
is 1.
that?
For N5 to be 0,
Yeah.
C has to be 1,
Yes, sir.
and N4 has to be 1.
Okay. So 1/4 into 1/2, that is 1/8.
1/8. So
And
that
for
is the
the-
probability of N5 being 0.
Yes, sir. 0.
The probability
So
of N5 being 1 is 7/8.
7/8. Okay, now this is 1/8, and again in this part it will be
Switching
if
for
it is
activity factor तो
1/8
वही रहेगा. Activity factor has
1/8
not
into
changed.
1. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Understood. Understood, sir.
Okay. So for
Okay.
an AND gate, you have to see which is similarly for an OR gate. You may get an OR gate also. So just see what is with the input combination when something else like that happens.
Yes,
So you have to look at conditional probability actually.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So if we start from probability of n5 being 1, then what we do is we end up going only the only p0 being 1, and then only c
Yes,
and
sir.
only n4 being 1, and then only c being 1. उस तरह का हम गड़बड़ कर जाते हैं.
हाँ.
So you have to look at what is the way that you will get the unique probability. Conditional
Yes.
से बाहर निकल जाओ.
Okay. Okay. Understood, sir. Thank you. Should I stop sharing?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
All the best. Yes.
sir, in these kind of questions, sir, wouldn't that be easy to make a truth table at first and find all the ones at that position and all the zeros at that position, directly writing the probability of?
Yes, you can do that. No challenge.
Okay.
You should do that.
Thank you, sir.
If you are uncomfortable with the 0-1-1-0 type of a business, then do that. Yes. है ना? Over here, because this NAND gate was coming as a second stage thing, so the probability of first signal being 1 and 0 was slightly different. So you have to just, but yeah, truth table can be a very good help. It makes it much easier. Yes, Madhur?
Yes.
Sir, in previous lecture, you had talked about reducing the capacitance. So reducing gate capacitance. So in that, you mentioned fewer states of logic. So what did you mean by this?
So you remember the logical effort wala discussion, Madhur?
Yes, sir.
What did we see there? That if there was only, so we had a load of 64, and we said that there is only one stage that needs to drive it. What was the size of the gate that we used, inverter that we used?
Huge.
We used 8 microns. Then when we said, okay, let there be 2 stages, then what happened? We saw that the total area of the gate increased from 8 to something like 18 or something, a little bit like that. There were 2 stages now. Then we said, okay, let us go to 3 stages. So when we went to 3 stages, that 18 further increased to something like 27. Then we said, let's go to 4 stages. And we saw that 27 increased to something like 80, something like that. So what would we be observing? As you go to more number of stages, the overall gate size increases. The delay reduced until 3 stages wala case, but the delay increased at once after at the 4th stage. Increase, मतलब वो basically minima आ गया था. You remember that logical effort के अंदर we did an example.
Yes, sir.
So that is what we are talking about. If you use lesser number of stages, that is if you are ready to compromise on delay a bit, then you can have lesser capacitance, and therefore you will have lower power. In a way, we are saying that the power and speed are a trade-off. If you want very high speed, you may end up giving a little more power. But if you really go to very, very large sizes, then we also saw that the delay would also degrade. So that also we saw. But the stage wala thing, is it clear now? If we reduce number of stages, overall device sizes would reduce, and therefore we will be able to have lower power. Capacitances would reduce.
Okay, sir. So we are saying that fewer number of states till we reach delay minimum.
Yeah. So a good optimal strategy would be, for example, using 2 or 3 stages instead of 1. 1 is very bad in delay, and 4 is obviously bad in delay also and power also. So 2 or 3 stages would have been good in that particular example.
Okay, sir. Understood.
So you remember in the logical effort thing, we said that a good stage ratio would vary between 2.5 or something like that to 6. So if you want to have a lower power circuit, then you go to a stage ratio of 6. If you want to have a high performance circuit, then you go to a stage ratio of 2.7, something like that.
Okay, sir. And sir, we also said that we need to increase the voltage before increasing the frequency. So the reason was that for operating at higher frequency, I first need to make the circuit capable of operating at high frequency by increasing the voltage. Is that the reason?
Yes.
Okay,
the delays have to reduce. That is when it will be able to operate successfully at higher frequencies, no?
Yes, sir.
So When we go down, we reduce the frequency first and then we reduce the voltage. When we want to go up, we increase the voltage first and then we increase the frequency.
Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
Sir, in switching power, why we multiply it with the activity factor? I just didn't understand its significance.
Okay, you tell me if I am talking about a static CMOS gate and I do not change its inputs at all. What is the power consumed in the circuit?
Nothing.
So, but if I change it in every cycle, then what is the power consumed in the circuit?
Some power
CV
will be.
square F.
CV square. Yeah.
Huh? So it means that depending on how my inputs are changing, my power consumption is changing.
Yeah.
That is represented by the activity factor.
But the activity factor basically means the probability.
The probability of change in input.
अच्छा, okay.
है ना?
So, activity factor doesn't mean the probability the transistor would be accessed. It is
No. See, activity. Wait. Activity factor is not probability. Activity factor is probability of a signal being 1 and then probability of a signal being 0. The joint probability is activity factor. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
So what are you saying? That the signal was 1 earlier and now is 0, or it was 0 earlier and now it is 1. That is what you're calling as activity factor.
Okay, so basically the changing input we are making, so the power consumed in that.
Yes.
Okay.
Activity factor is not just probability. It is dependent on probability. अगर probability होता तो अभी पिछला जो the circuit that we saw उसके अंदर we would have only written P. Why were we talking about alpha there?
Yes, sir.
You're talking about alpha because we said, okay, something was 0 earlier and now it is 1. So what is the probability of it being 0 multiplied by probability of it being 1? That is what will tell me the transition rate.
Okay, sir.
है ना?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else?
Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
sir, in the dynamic control, when the workload was less, we said frequency will be reduced, then voltage. But when the load is increased, you said first voltage has to increase, then frequency. What was the reason for that?
So अभी तो यही discuss करा था ना? So you tell me, why can I not increase the frequency before increasing the voltage?
I'm not getting that actually.
Okay, what happens at low voltages? Was something that we were discussing earlier in the session today. What happens at low voltages? To delays? What happens to delays when you operate at low voltages?
At low voltages, delay will increase because current will be less.
So delay has increased. Means what has happened? The frequency, what happens to frequency there? If delay increases, then what is the maximum frequency at which you can operate? It would increase or decrease. So if the delays increase, if the delay increases, then frequency would reduce. है ना? So what are we saying? We are saying that if I have reduced the voltage of operation, then the maximum frequency at which I will be able to operate would also have reduced. If I want to increase the frequency of operation, then first my voltage should increase so that the maximum operable frequency increases, then I increase the frequency. Otherwise, if I operate my circuit at a frequency faster than the maximum operable frequency, my circuit will fail, no?
Yes.
So because delays increase at low voltages, so before increasing the frequency, you have to increase the voltage so that delays can reduce. Intrinsic behavior of the circuit is at a higher frequency, and only once that has happened, you say, okay, now let the clock come at a faster rate. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. One more question. We saw for corners FF 4 times F, but somewhere I have seen 5 Fs. So what last 5 F corners?
5S corners.
5 fast corners. Like in the power important corners was FF 4F. Na, sir?
SS. See, when we talk about process corners, we only have PMOS and NMOS. So we talk about first the corner of NMOS, and then we talk about the corner of PMOS. So we say FNSP, where fast NMOS, slow PMOS. Where did we have 4?
I have seen in the textbook where it says if there are four corners, so the first two will represent the devices NMOS and PMOS. Third one will represent VDD voltage. Fourth, temperature.
Oh, acha. So they
So
have.
I didn't count. There are 5 corners also. So what was the fifth one that was I asking?
That your textbook must be telling you, Moin. I do not know. I do not put low voltage as a slow corner. I simply say it is low voltage. Okay, so whichever textbook you referred to, which said SS, whatever, so that would also describe what is the fifth variable they are talking about. Usually, the fifth variable could be extraction. It could be extraction means the capacitance corners. It could be aging. It could be so many things there are so many things which can actually impact delays. है ना? So what your book has used, I do not know, Moin. You have to check your book. But there are other variables also which can lead to slower devices. They're not okay. So you will get to know them in much more detail if you become a circuit designer and you design at very advanced technologies. Otherwise, for generic purpose, it's okay. PVT is the one that people are usually concerned about. Okay.
So,
Madhur?
yes, sir. I still do not get how decreasing VDD will increase my delay.
Fine. So what happens when you decrease the VDD? What happens to current?
Sir, it decreases.
So if the current has decreased, what happens to the charging time of a capacitor?
So I think it will remain the same.
If the current has reduced, you will be able to still give the same charge in the same time?
No, sir. The charge will be less.
Charge will be less. So the voltage will be lesser, na?
So, but the point till which the capacitor has to charge will usually be VDD by 2. So if VDD has reduced and charge has also reduced, so they must cancel each other out.
No, it doesn't. So वही वो model था. So okay, I get where I understand where the confusion is. So you go back to one of those slides where we had this model. There was an equation of how the voltage in the capacitor increases, basically the charge and the current dependence. And you will see that as you go to lower voltages, the delays would actually increase. Because if the capacitance had also reduced, then it would have been fine. But the capacitance remains same. So the overall delays increase.
Yeah, so which slide exactly?
The first, when we started to talk about delays, there were the first 2 or 3 slides where we talked about delay model of a MOSFET, where we said there is a switch, there is a resistance, and then we had this delay models there.
Okay, so those big complex equations which
you solve those equations, you will see that the delay would increase.
Okay.
So equations याद आ गई मदर को एकदम से.
So it's not just as simple as the analogy that I gave earlier.
Yeah, it's not. I cannot give that to you intuitively there. I can only say this what I said. That the capacitance has remained same, the drive strength has reduced, and the current is dependent on V square. Saturation current is dependent on V square. है ना?
Yeah. Yes.
So the current has reduced much faster than the requirement of VDD by 2.
Okay, sir.
That is where it happens.
Okay, sir.
Gagandeep?
Hello, sir. I have doubt in measurement of leakage. So, sir, when I
measure the leakage current in the, let's say, NAND gate in the assignment that we are doing. So I have to keep the input stable at some point.
Yes.
So in case I keep the input A and B at 0, so that way PMOS will be on and the VDD will come to the output node, and I will be measuring the leakage through NMOSes. And the other way around, A and B would be equal to 1, and NMOS, the ground will come to the output node, and I will be measuring through the VDD.
Yes.
So sir, this is my choice that from where I want to measure, or is there any standard that we...
So the standard is that you have to give leakage. So if it is a 2-input NAND, you have to give leakage for all the 4 input combinations. That is the standard.
Okay, so it would be average of the 4.
No, you don't give an average. In an actual .lib, you actually give all the 4 values, and the flow will pick up the right one depending on the inputs.
Sir, these things are not able to understand. Can you show in the waveform by drawing something like that?
We will discuss this in the coming class, Devjit.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Don't worry. So leakage parts we will discuss in the coming class.
And one thing, sir, in question bank, I came across a question where it was telling to define clock gating and power gating. So power gating is something that we learn later, or
yeah, in the next class.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Not too much later, just in the next class.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir, something similar kind of thing could happen in the delay measurement also. Like when I measure fall delay, for example. So if the internal node of the two NMOSes are involved in the delay, basically the extra capacitance, so then I will say that okay, this is a propagation delay. It is not a contamination.
Yes.
So sir, this way I have to give two different type of stimuli to measure rise time.
Yeah. You have to give all the 4 input combinations, see how things have changed, and then for all the combinations, so you have to give all the 4 transitions: 0 to 1 by A changing, 0 to 1 by B changing, 0 to 1 by A and B both changing simultaneously, and then define the contamination delays and the propagation delays. Max is propagation, min is contamination.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so for delays, you define only contamination and propagation. For leakage, you actually give all the 4 values, which is leakage dependent. So what happens is leakage simulations or leakage estimation on a chip level does not require, so it assumes one reset state. So you know what is the state of all the inputs when you estimate the leakage of a chip. So the system would automatically pick up the appropriate one. If so that is not the possibility, then it would average out by itself amongst all the 4. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, in that the memories, sir, in the memories, if we see the array, so there I take down the word line, and so basically there is no extra condition that I want to measure, right?
Memory. So you were talking about memory cell, Abhi. What about the periphery?
Yes, sir, that is complex.
Yeah. For the memory cell, yes, what you said is very similar, but not for the periphery.
Okay. Sir, just a follow-up question on what Gagandeep has said. Sir, for measuring fault delay, so the fault delay would be maximum when the shared source and drain region would also, the diffusion region capacitance would also be charged. So we have to give a series in inputs in such a way that first the capacitor gets charged, and then after one cycle the output as well as that capacitance is discharging. Is it something like that?
Yeah. So you have to give the stimuli in a way that you get the maximum delay. So you have to think about it. The stimuli is not ki haan bas de diya kuch bhi. Stimuli has to be designed. Designing the stimuli is a important and a complex job. It is not ki kuch bhi kar do.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So can you please, so in Monte Carlo simulation, we when we are randomly placing the variations on our design, so I mean, what are we actually checking there if we are just randomly doing everything?
दोबारा से बोलो.
So in Monte Carlo simulation, we place random variations on VT and stuff like that. So what exactly are we checking in Monte Carlo?
So Monte Carlo would do all these random, it will put these variations randomly on all the devices. And then what happens is you say that after these random variations, are my delays intact? Is my functionality correct or not? And so on. Did I answer your question?
So even then, so these variations are completely random. So sometimes it may happen that it may shoot up to a very high variation or sometimes very low variation.
Yes, as we said, as we discussed in the class, typically they are designed as Gaussian. So the probability of going to very large VT or very low VT is Gaussian distributed, so it is less. है ना, तो वो probabilistically determined होगा मधुर.
Okay, sir. So after doing a bunch of Monte Carlo simulations, I get like those similar dots that were composed or that composed that FF and TT and that plot.
Yeah.
So now I will say, so next, what do I make out of that plot?
So okay, what do we make out of that? You then check the standard deviation of the, suppose you're talking about propagation delay of a NAND gate. And you see that, okay, NAND gate nominal delay, that is, nominal delay means the first, the delay that you measure from one simulation. So you see that the nominal delay is, let us say 1 nanosecond, or by 1 nanosecond, let us say 80 picoseconds for a NAND gate. Then you run Monte Carlo on it and you see, okay, there is a distribution in which 80 picosecond is the average value. That is where you got the nominal also almost 80 picoseconds or something close to it. However, there are some delays which are 85, there are some where it is 75, and there is a distribution. So every distribution will have a standard deviation. So you say, okay, now let me see nominal, that is 80 picoseconds plus minus 3 sigma. Sigma is standard deviation. And if that continues to be within 10% of your delay, then that is fine. In fact, 10% ज़्यादा बता रहा हूँ, within 4 to 5%, then it is fine. If it exceeds 4 to 5%, then you say, oh, I need to do statistical static timing analysis. So you will cover this in the course on VDS, where they will introduce static timing analysis to you. We talked about static timing analysis fleetingly in the first few sessions that we did, Madhur, but it will be covered in much more detail in the VDS course. We will do a little bit more of static timing analysis kind of work towards the later part of this course. So basically, static timing analysis is considering only the nominal values. But in advanced technologies, because variations are higher, so you actually do statistical static timing analysis, where you say, okay, for every device that I will measure the delay, I will estimate the sigma, and then I will ensure that overall yield remains to be more than 99%, something like that.
Okay, so this 4 to 5% measure that we give, did we obtain it from Monte Carlo simulation? That
yes, because sigma you will only get from a Monte Carlo simulation, na? Until you have a distribution, you can't talk of a sigma.
Okay, sir. So from Monte Carlo simulation, we got that within 5 to 4% range, my devices work fine. And so if my final silicon chip also falls in this 4 to 5% margin, I can say that this will work fine.
So Madhur, abhi, because you do not have the other anchors in place, na, abhi isko conclude mat karo. If I try to build a complete picture, it will take at least 1 hour. This is a full lecture in memory design course. So don't conclude on this. Just realize that variations are important. They can lead to failures, and to avoid failures, at SOC level, people do statistical static timing analysis, and at circuit level, designers do Monte Carlo simulations to ensure that failures don't happen. अभी इतना तक conclude करो बस, इससे ज़्यादा मत conclude करो.
Okay, sir.
Okay, because there are more gaps that need to be filled to arrive at some reasonable conclusion. वो अभी इस short time frame में करना unfair हो जाएगा, क्योंकि वो फिर then I will have to really run through it, and गलत है. It takes full one lecture to discuss about variations in a memory design course. है ना?
Okay, sir. And
we'll cover it in much detail there.
Okay, sir. And sir, one more thing in clock gating, sir. So in clock gating, we are passing a clock through an AND gate, and we are AND gate or along with the clock enable logic, and then we are transferring it to the register. Wouldn't that create a problem in synchronization, because clock is supposed to synchronize, and now extra delays of clock enable logic?
Yeah, so you do this before every flop, na? So every flop has that AND gate. So the clock is delayed everywhere. It still remains synchronous. Don't worry.
Okay, sir. So now everywhere where I need to send a clock, I will send it through this enable logic.
Yeah. So enable may be low somewhere, enable may be high somewhere. So the clock may or may not go, but whatever it is. So you will clock gating, when it is done for a large block, not small gates. So for example, for the entire memory block, there is one gating. Just one place the gate will come and it will delay the clocks for all the clocks inside the memory. It's a constant delay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Anything else?
Sir, Sir, I saw somewhere that to reduce the activity factor, we can use the sleep mode. So the sleep mode and clock gating are same or different, sir?
So for the purpose of dynamic power, they are same, but sleep mode may have other features which we'll discuss in the next class to reduce leakage. So in that sense, sleep mode could be much more advanced than simply clock gating. So abhi jo, some who was asking about power gating. So power gating may also is, when you talk of sleep mode, then power gating is also kind of inbuilt into it to reduce leakage. Okay, so sleep mode is slightly more advanced than just power gating. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. One more terminology that somewhere I saw stacked devices. What is the meaning of this stacked devices actually?
Yeah, stacked devices means that instead of like in a NAND gate, the two NMOSes are said to be stacked. So this one of the devices will have some source biasing happening there. The source will be at a different voltage than the body. So typically in an inverter, you will see that body and source are connected. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
But for a NAND gate, the NMOS, which is closer to the output, the body is all connected to ground, but the source is connected to that internal node. We will cover this in the next class. We will cover this in the next class in much more detail. Don't worry. Okay. Anything else?
Sir, when we change the toggle rate of inputs, the activity at different nets in our design changes. So for any design, do we have some method to characterize it with a typical power number?
So this is a hard problem, Shakti. So what is done is in a system, typically multiple simulations are run for different sets of stimuli, and then the power is averaged out.
Okay.
So for example, if you look at computer architecture benchmarks, you will see that there are benchmarks for power. And जैसे आप अगर Qualcomm के application processor के review देखो, technical reviews देखो, so you will see that okay, it rates its power on 5 or 10 different benchmarks. and it compares this processor with another processor on all the 10 benchmarks. So that you know, okay, this is a web browsing centered kind of a benchmark. This is a video gaming kind of a benchmark. This is a movie playback kind of a benchmark. This is audio benchmark, and so on. And then you can estimate, okay, my major work is video, so this device will have better power or more battery life than that one, and so on. So there is no one typical power. You have to have a use case, a workload, and on basis of that, you define a benchmark, and on basis of that, then you estimate the power consumption in a system.
Okay, so basically we are looking at different blocks in our design and looking at which one will operate depending on what user chooses to, and then
Yeah.
we correct it.
Yeah, at a chip level, that is how it is done.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir,
Mm-hmm.
sir, I have a doubt, sir. Can I share my screen, sir?
Sure.
Sir, yes, sir. Once. Sir, so in this, if we want to get the dynamic power, sir, we are supposed to look from here to here, right, sir?
Huh?
This position. If we want to get the dynamic power.
If you want to get the dynamic power, you need to measure. So what is the timing stamp? Okay, timing stamp, let us say you had a transition at 30 nanoseconds. Huh? So you need to measure from 29.5 nanoseconds to 30.5 nanoseconds. Yeah.
Okay.
30.2 पे भी कर लोगे आपका तो 30.5 करोगे तो बहुत ही safely you will be there. You will have covered the entire curve.
Sir, I don't understand why my current is going in the negative direction, sir.
We discussed that, no? When the output transition is going from 1 to 0, then the VDD is not supplying any current. The current is going into the ground node.
Yes, but sir, current is going into the ground, but it's going from capacitor to ground, right, sir? When it's not charging, it's going from capacitor to ground. But here the current over here is the I through VDD, sir. So, sir, I through VDD, it should be 0 at that point, right, sir?
So this is how the simulator manages it, Vaishnav. It does not put it to be 0. It says it is negative. That the current is being kind of deposited into the source. I'm not giving any current now. I'm just depositing the current.
Even though the current is getting into the
ground,
it takes it as a negative value.
Yeah. So you anyways you integrate it and you say that okay, this is the amount of charge that flew. See, what is important for you is to measure the charge. You measure the charge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, like the thing which I was thinking was, I'll show this again, sir. I'll show this graph again. 1 second. So, sir, at first I thought of doing this from over here to here, but if I do as such, sir, this spike is only due to this voltage fluctuation. So there's no need to consider this one, right, sir?
Yeah.
So only during this this duration, if I want to do it, so I'll be taking I'll be taking the slow corner with all the maximum delays possible, and I'll find at that point I'll be taking the these values of timing over here, and I'll be integrating that to get this area.
The charge, yes.
Okay. Yeah, charge. Yes. Okay. Sir. Understood.
So whenever there is an output transition, that is when you should do it.
Okay, sir. Understood.
Or because this is a single device, yes, that is the case. But in a complex path where there could be intermediate transitions also, then you do it almost everywhere.
Sir,
because of intermediate.
A small doubt, sir. So while doing AC analysis, we just ground our DC points also, right, sir? We just ground our VDD point and we ground our ground.
Why? VDD is at 1.1 volt or 1.2 volts, no? It is not
But
ground.
during AC analysis, we ground it, right, sir? While taking it
During
AC
AC analysis, it is considered as ground. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Even in
That
PMOS and NMOS
you do in
structure.
the CMOS, no? That you do in the CMOS
Yes,
course.
yes,
Already
yes,
do that. You know?
So is that any kind of reason why our simulator is taking this in the negative direction? Because if we ground our VDD even, then it even becomes a ground. So obviously, if our capacitor is discharging, then the current should get into the ground. That means it's even getting into the VDD point. Is that any
Could
kind of
be.
reason?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just interested in what I want to do. I will do that. That's good enough for me. Yes, Rajneesh.
Thank
Hello,
you.
sir.
Sir, sorry, could you post the recording just immediately after this office hour?
Immediately after this, and the recording should be made available first. Yeah, I will do that.
Yes, sir.
Don't
Yes,
worry.
sir. Okay.
Yeah. Chaliye.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All the best, guys. I'm stopping the recording.
Hello.
Yes, Tanuj.
Yes, sir. So I have a small suggestion. So can we shift the normal classes also to Google Meet? Because we are still facing the issues of low quality on the Zoom app. Like the videos you post, we can only watch it on maximum 360p.
Yeah, that is the limitation with Zoom. Zoom doesn't allow recordings of more than 360p. That's a challenge, Tanuj.
So can we switch to Google Meet?
I think it should be okay. Let me just evaluate once. It should be
Yeah.
okay, because finally what is happening is that in Google Meet we may have some problem. Can we spotlight someone in the Google Meet? I don't think so.
Yes,
I cannot
sir.
spotlight one person for everyone in the class, no?
Correct.
So that is what will happen. So as soon as someone else starts to speak, my screen would vanish from your recording. That is
Yeah,
the
okay.
benefit Zoom offers as of now.
Okay, sir.
So yeah, Google, I can pin my video in my screen, but that won't work because Google Meet will record the default, not my screen. Google Meet will not record my screen. It will record the default. The default is whoever is speaking will come up.
Yeah,
Right?
correct. So okay.
Yeah, that's the challenge.
Okay, sir. No issues. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. But